I would like to tell you stories about three women who've shaped my life. These are women who are strong. They've all been committed to community service and strengthening communities. They all had deep values which led them to live lives of looking out for others and strengthening our communities. And for me, they've helped me become a better doctor, certainly helped me be a better father, a better partner, and all around, I think what part they've played has helped me be a better person. My mother was the person who really connected reading with love, and that she was very big on making sure that we were well prepared in the world and also that she nurtured us. And so part of that was reading. And so anything from reading Bible stories on a regular basis or reading Winnie the Pooh or going to the public library, which we did regularly to get Dr. Seuss books. So reading was clearly a huge part of what she saw as her goal of parenting. She was born in India because my grandparents were missionaries. It's hard to even imagine what life was like in the early 20th century, being the child of a missionary and being put on a train and shipped hundreds of miles away from your parents to go to boarding school. But that's what my mom and her brothers and sisters did. And she eventually graduated from high school there in India. And then it was time to come back to the United States for her, where all the rest of the family stayed in India. And so she boarded an ocean liner in India and set off for the United States. But to add to kind of the amazing drama of this is that this was during World War II. And so as they sailed from India to the United States, they actually needed to observe blackout at night so that the ship did not draw the attention of enemy bombers. So once she came to the United States, she went to college and she became a nurse, because for her, this was the way she was going to carry forward the values she had been taught to be of service. And the care of pregnant women really attracted her. It somehow drew her in. And so after becoming a registered nurse, her next professional step was to learn to become a nurse midwife. And there were several programs in the country where nurses could go to learn midwifery. And the two that I remember her talking about being options, one was to go to Appalachia, to one of the most impoverished counties in Kentucky, and the other was New York City. And for some reason she chose New York City, and so she went to New York City to learn how to be a midwife. And it was there that she went out into the community to do childbirth deliveries in the tenements of Harlem. Well, this is Sharon. We were married from 1982 until 2003, when her life came to completion because of complications of breast cancer. And Sharon was obviously many things, and one of the things is she was very involved with environmental causes, and she also loved being outdoors. So that's one of the things I love about this picture, is that here she is. That's actually up on Stockton Island, and there's Lake Superior in the background, and it's sort of typical of her hiking. There she is hiking with the rather cool waters, but hiking barefoot. She has her boots and her binoculars are around her neck, and she's just overjoyed to be out in nature and be on the shores of Lake Superior. She was also very engaged in the community because she was a registered dietitian. And so she worked for the Veterans Administration and did home care for veterans and would tend to the veterans for their nutritional needs. And as a testimony to how she did that, for many years after we moved from North Carolina back to Wisconsin, the families would continue to send us Christmas cards because of the emotional impact she had had on their life. And as we raised our children, it was very important to both of us to instill strong values of community service and the need to make sure that you were always looking out to what could you do to strengthen the community. And so from a very early age, she made sure our children were involved with supporting the local food pantry, as well as doing work for Habitat for Humanity when the children were young. That involved helping with fundraising events and stuffing the envelopes for the fundraising events for Habitat for Humanity. She was also a very avid gardener. She loved doing the gardening, and so she would put in a huge garden, and of course part of that was so that she could share it every Sunday when we went to church. We always made sure that there was a lot of our produce that was out on the community share table at church. Well, Kathleen and I, we met in 2005. We were both single parents at that time, both deep in our careers and raising our children. And so we met the way many modern couples meet. We met online, and we soon found that through our correspondence that we had much in common. We had very common interests. We had actually a number of common books, and that soon led to us getting to know each other. When I first met Kathleen, what struck me about her was her profession. She is a marriage and family therapist and was working in both cancer care as well as in hospice and palliative care. So she was taking care of people throughout their journey with cancer, those who were having wonderful responses and cures, as well as those for whom things were more challenging. And she was there to support the patients and equally importantly to support the families. And then for patients who were moving into the final phases of their life, she helped counsel them and guide them and make sure that their care continued throughout the rest of their life. And so that was very intriguing to me because as a kidney doctor, I also tend to a lot of patients who are nearing the end of their life, and I realize the importance of that work and also just the specialness of someone who knows how to do that skillfully. So Kathleen's major art focus is with ceramics. So she likes to create bowls. She loves sitting at the potter's wheel and taking a lump of clay and spinning up a bowl. And where she has found particular delight is to use her talents and gifts to give back to the community. And there's a national, almost international project called Empty Bowls, and that's where potters create wonderful works of art. They donate them to the local food pantry, and then the food pantry holds a fundraiser. So that event has been going on for several years with Kathleen's involvement, and she's been involved at many levels. Equally important to her is how she gets young people in the community involved, and so she partners with local art teachers, and they will recruit high school students and other young people to come and spend an evening working together to make bowls. And they have a wonderful time doing it, a lot of camaraderie and chatting, but all the while they're creating bowls to help alleviate hunger in our community. How we sum up our relationship, it really is an extremely full and engaging relationship. There's so many parts of our lives that we share. I mean, we both had been gardeners for years, so we enjoy growing our own food and being in nature in that way. We both had a common draw towards Lake Superior. We had spent time in Lake Superior, and as a couple, we've found trips to Bayfield to be a key part, to the point where we even got married on the shores of Lake Superior up in Cornucopia. And certainly intellectually, we continue to we have similar interests. Professionally, we have our interests in caring for patients who are in crisis and in how do we help patients work through very difficult times of their lives. And then certainly a part of my life that was smaller and bigger for her is the artistic side, which I delight in because I get to participate in her artwork and assist her with that, and at that point really stand off center stage and just delight when she's the one who is creating wonderful works of art and engaging in the community to share with the community her talents and gifts. We're definitely the emotional support for each other. We've both been in professions which can be quite emotionally draining. It takes just a lot of energy and emotion, as well as the need to gather a lot of information. So it's great to have a haven to come home to, that when you come home, you know it's a place where you can share your joys, you can share your trials, you can be strengthened through the relationship, so that the next day when it's time to go back out and serve people, you're rejuvenated, regenerated, and strengthened. Well, there are many important women in my life. Obviously the three most important are going to be my mother and the two women who I've been married to. And they stand out to me because one is my mother obviously taught me the values that I hold most dear. And for both Sharon and Kathleen, because they've been incredibly great partners who have enriched my life. My life has been shaped and molded by strong women, and I am a better doctor, I'm a better father, I'm a better partner to Kathleen, and hopefully I'm a better person because of all of their influence on my life.